Morning, everybody, fellow subscribers, men, women alike. This video today is actually going to be about fat loss. I have a few subscribers that are on a journey of fat loss. I want to let everybody know out there. I know a lot of guys that are in the gym, working out and stuff, or a lot of ladies, a lot of people in the fitness industry know this pretty much already. This is a video for people that, aren't aware or might know a little bit or might not know anything about it. What I want to make clear, very clear, is yes, the scale is important. The mirror obviously is better because weight loss, the problem is America in general has termed the coin weight loss instead of body fat reduction. Yes, it's weight loss, but with weight loss can come muscle loss, can come bone loss. There's many issues to weight loss when one just diets and say doesn't exercise, or diets and doesn't intake the right nutrients and doesn't properly exercise. But mostly for people that just diet and don't exercise, which obviously I don't think any of my followers, the ones that I'm speaking to, don't just diet. But if anybody does, it doesn't matter. That's fine. But what I'm getting at is if you just diet without doing weight training and cardiovascular training, you're going to run the risk of losing muscle, and obviously, depending on your nutrient intake and whatnot, you're going to lose bone density. If you don't weight lift, if you don't strength train, if you don't do yoga, if you don't do Tai Chi or Qigong or martial arts or some form of exercise where you're stimulating your bone cells, to basically form bone growth, to remodel, because your bones remodel all the time. You're always forming new bone cells. Your bones are always remodeling, and your bones can still, even if you're in an old age, can still lay calcium. Wolff's Law states that upon stress, calcium is laid into the bones, basically. That's my own definition of it. So what Wolff's Law states is that through weight bearing, through through weight training, whether it's lightweight or heavyweight, and mostly pressing, you want to do pressing movements, bench presses, shoulder presses. The pressing movements build a lot of bone mass. But picking up weights and walking, deadlifts, squats, etc., anything weight bearing on your body that your bones are going to have to be stimulated, because when you grip something and hold it, it's not just your fingers, your grip, your bones are supporting your tendons, your ligaments, your musculature, etc. So the bones are being stimulated. So you need that stimulation to continue to lay calcium and build that bone density. So Wolff's Law states that upon stress through weight-bearing exercise, one will build bone density. One will basically put calcium in their bones, in a sense, with dietary calcium. But your osteoblasts, I believe that they're called, because osteoclasts are your bone breaking down cells. You want your osteoblasts to be abundant so that they form that density. So you could be even on a low calcium diet, because we only do ingest 10% of calcium from our diet. So you don't have to be at a whopping, have tons of calcium in you, but you need to have some. But the more important thing is the weight bearing exercise, because that's going to fuel, that's going to foster those osteoblasts, and that's going to help build that bone. Wolff's Law, you may want to look it up. It's pretty cool. I learned that when I was doing personal training. thought it was pretty cool. I wanted to discuss on the cardio aspect of fat loss. You have something called, if I even pronounce it correctly, the Karvanen method. You can Google that. And basically what it states is you take your age, and then you have a formula. You start with 220. You minus your age from the 220. What that's going to do is give you your high end heart rate max. Okay, I believe if I have the formula now, if I read it correctly, which I mostly do, but there is room for error. Now, if you take the 220 and you minus your age, and then you times zero point 0.7, that should give you your kind of minimal heart rate, your lower end. I found a chart that was pretty cool that I'm just going to read to you. We're going to start with the max end and we're going to go down to the low end. Now this is to develop maximum performance. This is going to be for athletes, MMA fighters, people that have built their cardiovascular system up, that are looking to shred a little more body fat, a little more pounds, etc. So to develop your max performance, you're going to want to be at a heart rate of 171 to 190 beats per minute. You're going to be at 90 to 100% of your energy levels. And that's pretty tough to attain. But like I said, that's for, kind of the elite fitness people, or what you can build up to. And then you can be an elite yourself. Because we're all elites. It's just the progression to get there. Never forget that. To get to kind of rise to help get to the max performance, you're going to want to be at 152 to 171 beats per minute. And this is going to be an 80 to 90% range. And that's going to help to develop your maximum performance. Your next range, which is moderate, 70 to 80% of your output, is going to be 133 to 152 beats per minute. And that's going to be your moderate end. And this is going to improve your aerobic fitness. 114 to 133 beats per minute is going to be light, 60 to 70% of your output. And this is going to improve basic endurance and fat burning. And then we're going to go down to the very light end, the low end of the chart, which was 95 to 114 beats per minute. And that's very light, and that'll be about 50 to 60% of your output. And this will improve overall health and recovery. Now, I probably should have started at the bottom and went up. I hope I didn't confuse anybody. What I want everybody to do that's watching this, that's interested in this, is when you wake up in the morning, I want you to find your resting heart rate. Some cell phones have apps. Sometimes I would recommend getting a heart rate monitor. And I want, or you can count your pulse for, I believe it's for a minute, and multiply by 10. There's a formula, that's right off the top of my head. There's a couple pulse formulas you can do with your finger, but that's not that accurate, and I don't use that method, so that's why I'm kind of drawing a blank on that formula, but Google will have it. I would recommend a heart rate monitor, or on your cell phone. They usually have the fitness app, and then you can place your finger and it'll give you your resting heart rate. Upon awakening, early morning, that's your right heart rate. And that will also allow you to know where it is. If you're training for a while and you're overtraining, it's a good marker. So they always say first thing in the morning upon waking, before you move, find out your heart rate. Then what I'd like you to do is somewhat during the day, after you've been up a few hours, I want you to check your heart rate, write it down. Later on in the day, check your heart rate, write it down. And then before bed, check your heart rate, write it down. That way you have an idea of what your resting heart rate is upon awakening and what your heart rate is when you're moving. Then from there, getting an idea of it, you start slow. Start at the 95 to 114 beats per minute because you're moving up in increments. You know, you don't want to go balls to the wall, excuse my French, or you don't want to go all out at once because then your body's going to adapt. So you always want to start with a progression. So you start what's comfortable. You get your resting heart rate. You get your heart rate when you're moving around, and then you start doing your cardio. And when you start feeling, all right, it's getting tough, check the heart rate and then stay there and work with that. And then, I'd stay there for a week, and then you can even progress up from there the following week, and make slow progressions. It's going to be based on how you feel cardiovascularly, what's comfortable for you. But the thing to remember is the 114 beats to 133 beats per minute is going to be light, 60-70% output, but it improves basic endurance in fat burning. So everybody that's looking to burn fat and build that endurance to get to the higher level there, well, 114 to 133 is to strive for. And that's why it's a good idea to know your heart rate throughout the day so you can have a better plan of action to attack that. And one more thing on the scale. It's important, but you always want to remember you want to lose body fat, and you want to do cardio, and you want to do weight-bearing exercises in combination. And I would recommend cardio a couple times a week to start, 2 times a week, maybe 3, but that's a little much. I'd say twice a week, work on some weight exercises. Do some higher rep, 15 to 20 reps to get the heart pumping, with the weights. And then hit your cardio twice a week. And you always, if you're going to do weights, you do cardio after because you burn through your reserves, you burn through your glycogen. So that way, when you're done weight training, your reserves are burned through and you're right to body fat. So that's why a lot of guys and gals and people working out and stuff will hit cardio after weights or on a separate day. You may hear do it on an empty stomach, there's an old saying that fat is burnt in a carbohydrate flame, which means that you need carbs in to start the fat burning process. So you'll hear fast and do it. You'll hear eat something. What I say, it's whatever comfortable for you. If you're nauseous and you need a swig of some juice or a half a banana or something along that sort, that's fine. If it's going to give you a better cardio workout, okay. If you feel great doing it on an empty stomach, then that's fine too. If you want to have a pre-workout meal, go do some weight training and then hit, 10, 20 minutes of cardio after, that's fine too. And I believe I'm running out of time, so I hope I didn't confuse anybody. God bless everybody out there, for everybody that believes. For ones that don't, universally bless. And if you don't believe in anything, just goodness to you all. And please, if there's any questions